Hey, it's Adam Grant from Work Life, a podcast from TED. This episode is brought to you by Freshworks. Freshworks believes that complexity is the enemy of efficiency. So stop wrestling with bloated, expensive service software that takes forever to implement an update, where ROI is someday, not today. You've been overcharged and underserved for way too long. Uncomplicate with Freshservice for IT and Freshdesk for customer support. And with Freshworks AI-assisted service software, you'll work smarter, not harder. Freshworks uncomplicates. Learn more at freshworks.com.
On today's Smart 7, government reveals secret Afghan scheme, Reeves pledges to cut regulations and much more. It's Wednesday, 16th of July, it's World Snake Day, and happy birthday, Will Ferrell.
The Smart 7. It's news, but
not the news.
Chancellor Rachel Reeves addressed city bosses at the annual Mansion House dinner on Tuesday night. She says she's focused on growth and her new target is red tape. She says too many rules and regulations are acting as a boot on the neck of business and it risks choking off innovation in the UK if bold steps aren't taken to reform things. She was also keen to emphasise the difference that Labour have already made to the UK's growth prospects.
The Prime Minister and I and this government remain committed to our non-negotiable fiscal rules. The stability that we have restored is already delivering, reducing the cost of mortgages, real wages up by more in the first 10 months of this Labour government than they increased by in the first 10 years of the previous Conservative government.
Andrew Griffith is the Tory Shadow Business and Trade Secretary, and he says that the shadow of the 2008 financial crash can't continue to impact people looking to get on the property ladder.
Post-2008, the whole regulatory establishment was too cautious, and it is really having a problem with people getting onto the housing ladder. So I support that. The mortgage guarantee scheme, that's a good scheme. It does help people. It's not the only answer to housing, because if you're not building homes, then obviously that's going to have an impact as well.
The government revealed on Tuesday that there's been a secret scheme in operation which has seen thousands of Afghans move to the UK after a data leak put them at risk. Back in February 2022, a list of 19,000 Afghans who had applied to move to the UK after the Taliban seized power in Afghanistan was leaked in error. It took until August 2023 before the UK government became aware of it, and they began the scheme, which was kept secret by a super-injunction until a High Court judge ordered it removed on Tuesday. Secretary of Defence John Healey delivered a statement and an apology in the Commons.
It may have occurred 3 years ago under the previous government, but to all those whose information was compromised, I offer a sincere apology today on behalf of the British government.
It's unprecedented for a government to use a super-injunction to prevent reporting on a scheme that could have cost over £2 billion, but the Labour government wasn't even told of its existence until after the election. And in an unusual show of solidarity, Tory Shadow Defence Secretary James Cartledge was also prepared to apologise on the record.
This data leak should never have happened and was an unacceptable breach of all relevant data protocols. And I agree it is right that an apology is issued specifically to those whose data was compromised.
Ukrainian President Zelensky was cautiously positive on Tuesday that the new US arms deal brokered by NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte with Donald Trump could have a positive impact for his country. He's still waiting on the finer details of how the deal will work, but the fact that European NATO members have committed to increased defence spending seems to have had a positive effect on the US president's view of the war. Trump was still insisting that he wasn't done with Putin, and he has offered the Russian leader a 50-day window before he implements sanctions. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov was quick to point fingers at Kyiv as the ones continuing the war.
The statement made by the US president is quite serious. Some statements are addressed personally to Putin. It appears that such decisions being made in Washington are being interpreted by the Ukrainian side not as a signal for peace, but as a signal to continue the war.
this summer's heatwaves are having a worrying effect on one of our most precious resources, water. There was a warning on Tuesday that Britain is facing a drought, with 4 areas now at risk, including the East and West Midlands, Yorkshire and the North West. Rainfall in June was 20% less than normal, and reservoir levels have continued to fall, with the prospect of hose pipe bans looming. Emma Hardy is the Under-Secretary of State for Water and Flooding, and she says the government's National Drought Group are working on the issue.
We want to reassure the public that we are prepared for any eventuality, and the focus of this government is making sure that everyone continues to get water, and for them that life continues as normal. But of course we're a serious government and we're taking precautions.
Still to come on today's Smart 7, in association with Metro, Lewis Capaldi is in a happy place and the Emmys break records right after this.
Out here, it's not only the amazing views, but the way time stretches out a little longer and how the breeze hits just right at the summit. With All Trails, you can discover nature's best with over 450,000 trails around the world. Download the free app today.
Welcome back. All eyes are on the town of Portrush in Northern Ireland this week as the British Open celebrates its 153rd year. The reason is, of course, Rory McIlroy, who is in search of another shot at the Claret Jug. He crashed out on this course in 2019, and his friend and fellow Irishman Shane Lowry won, but Rory is determined not to let history repeat itself this weekend. He's been spotted around the course in his Green Masters jacket, and his celebrity friends are already on hand, including pop star golfer Niall Horan. Niall struggled in the chipping contest, though.
That's pretty tough now, I'm not going to lie. Those balls, they were fish food balls and they were very heavy. And it was, even the pro lads struggled with it. You had to hit it quite hard.
Yeah, that would have made you feel a bit better when you seen the pro step up.
Yeah, I was delighted once Thomas Dietrich stuck one in the water.
Singer Lewis Capaldi is in the middle of what can only be called a triumphant comeback. Way back in 2023, he was struggling with his mental health and a diagnosis of Tourette's syndrome, so much so that he couldn't finish his set at Glastonbury. Fast forward 2 years and he wowed the crowds at Worthy Farm. Now he's got a new single out and is heading off on a world tour. He popped up on The Tonight Show to chat about the power of therapy and do a little humble bragging.
We've just announced a UK tour, arena tour and Australian arena tour. That's September in Australia, and you can try and get tickets, but they're sold out, baby. So.
Oh yeah, baby!
Yeah. So, fat chance.
Tuesday afternoon saw the Emmy nominations announced with a whole host of record-breaking moments. Harrison Ford celebrated his first ever nomination for Apple TV Plus comedy Shrinking, while Severance set a new record with 27 separate nominations for its second season. There were 2 shows not far behind as Seth Rogen's The Studio picked up 23 nominations, beating the Ted Lasso record for a comedy, and Colin Farrell's The Penguin got 24 nominations, including one for Colin himself. The surprise package was British Netflix drama Adolescence, which picked up an amazing 13 nominations, including a first for Stephen Graham, and set a record as Owen Cooper became the youngest actor ever nominated in his category. The ceremony takes place on September 14th, and the chair of the Television Academy summed up the nominations moment rather neatly.
In a year when the industry has continued to evolve creatively, structurally, and economically, one thing remains clear. Powerful performances and compelling stories still cut through.
You've been listening to The Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit that follow button and have a great day. Give us 7 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Hey, it's Maya and Sim from the Girls That Invest podcast. If you are an IT or security pro, you know managing devices, identities, and applications can feel overwhelming and honestly risky. That's where Trellica by 1Password comes in. It helps conquer SaaS sprawl and shadow IT by discovering every app your team uses, managed or not. With pre-built app profiles, you can assess risk, manage access, and even optimize your software spend. Plus, it simplifies onboarding, offboarding, and compliance, all while cutting costs by eliminating unused licenses. Take the first step to better security for your team. Learn more at onepassword.com/special offer.